Hello and welcome once again to McClendon Studios. This is Random Thoughts and Observations, and I'm your host, David E. McClendon Sr. And today we're going to talk about strokes. Now, this past week I suffered 3 strokes, and I went to bed Wednesday night and was feeling perfectly fine, no problems, hadn't had any real problems during the day that I recognized. However, I had had some situations of a little bit of slurred speech earlier in the day, and couldn't think of the right word when I was trying to, or couldn't say the right word. I could think of it fine, but couldn't say the right words when I was trying to talk to a friend of mine. Went up to Basil at the Walmart. He's the manager, and I hadn't seen him in a while, so I tried to tell him that I thought he had been abducted by aliens, but for whatever reason those words wouldn't come out of my mouth, even though I could say it, I could think it fine. And abducted by aliens shouldn't be that difficult. Anyway, so I got up the next morning, Thursday morning, to call my youngest daughter, and couldn't make it into the chair. I called her fine, but I didn't have to talk to her. I just called, and she says, "I'm up, I got it, love you, goodbye," and that was it for our conversation. Anyway, so I couldn't get into the chair. I tried to make it to the bathroom, and my wife Suzanne and my oldest daughter Whitney, we call her Lainey, helped me into the restroom, and I used the bathroom in there, and I sat on the toilet, and I was feeling like everything was fine, and my slurred speech had cleared up a little bit, for the most part. And so Suzanne thought, well, I'll just take a bath, and then we'll take him on to the regular doctor. It didn't work out that way, because I tried to get up off the toilet, and when I tried to get up off the toilet, I couldn't even make it into this bench right here where I'm sitting, which is not far from the bathroom door. As a matter of fact, the bathroom is just off screen here. Anyway, to make a short story long, as I want to do, they tried to help me get my clothes on to go out to the car to go into an emergency room, and Suzanne was able to help me get my clothes most of the way on, and we went into the carport, and I fell down and on top of Suzanne and couldn't get up. The ambulance came, and while I was laying there on the driveway or carport floor, which should be cool, I was thinking about how hot it is. They loaded me into the ambulance, took me on to Oak Bend, where they headed toward Jackson Street, Oak Bend, but they got flagged off, diverted to the other Oak Bend, which was the one I had been in before. And because there was an emergency patient already, and they couldn't tend to me immediately, we rolled in the back door, or the emergency room door at the Oak Bend at Williams Way, and they took me directly into the CAT scan. They scanned me, they loaded me off the ambulance stretcher onto the CAT scan bed, and from the CAT scan bed they scanned me in just a minute or two's time and had me back in the emergency room before the ambulance people could even leave the hospital. That's how fast everything went. And then of course my wife arrived. My daughter had ridden in the ambulance. My wife arrived shortly thereafter, and they told me that I'd had a stroke, which later became diagnosed as a TIA, which is like a temporary stroke. Anyway, that was on Thursday. I underwent some evaluation, and then on Friday I suffered at least 2 more strokes. Anyway, as it stands now, I've gotten most of my speech back. It's still slurry a little bit, not as bad as it was. I can walk. I still have little control over my appendages. On my left hand, I still have, it's still difficult. It requires a lot of thought to actually control, but we're cool with that. Anyway, first of all, let me tell you that cholesterol is not your friend. And let's make some preparations now. If you haven't already had a stroke, maybe you can avoid one by limiting the cholesterol and the salt, by keeping the blood pressure under proper control. You can do that with diet. Garlic is good for the blood pressure. Exercise, for me, I'm 100 pounds overweight, so we're going to lose 100 pounds. This time I'm going to lose 100 pounds here. Kissy doesn't need to lose 100 pounds because she just disappeared if she lost 100 pounds. Anyway, this is my daughter here, Kissy. Not really. Anyway, but I need to lose 100 pounds at least, and we're going to go through that together. And we're going to try to do on the proper diet affordably. Anyway, so it was a very scary experience to go through, and if you can avoid it by having your cholesterol down, your salt intake down, none of these fad diets like all carbs or no carbs or all this or all that, A balanced diet with as little cholesterol, as little salt as possible is the best way to avoid a stroke if you haven't had one, or to recover from a stroke if you have had one. Of course, the daily aspirin that everybody tells you to take, and I had stopped taking. I should have taken one every day for eons, but I didn't because I just didn't. Anyway, as far as the rest of our video is concerned, I just want to express to you that in case you ever have to go to the hospital unexpectedly, it's never a bad idea to go ahead and have you something packed like a bag with your shaving supplies, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your razor, things that you're used to, a comb or a brush or whatever, all packed where someone could grab it for you. And if you have important papers, like for me, I have a power of attorney, a medical power of attorney, it's best to have all that in one central location where someone can follow along behind you. And although you might feel like Superman, I know I did, it's best to make sure that everyone knows exactly where everything is that's important. You know, your wallet, your keys, and those types of things that they may need. Like for me, they needed my wallet for me at the hospital, the insurance card. All the medications that you take, have all those in one location, and don't try to not share this type of thing with your loved ones. Let them know where everything is. And have a little extra cash on hand so that if you find yourself at the hospital, those caretakers that are with you can have stuff to eat while they're there, have access to the food and drink, because hospital food is expensive. And you know, any place where they have you as a captive audience is going to be expensive. But it's a good idea to have the cash available so that they can eat without having to leave your bedside, because they're not going to want to. And who would want to leave their loved one behind? Anyway, just remember to do that. Hopefully we'll be on the road to recovery together. If you've suffered a stroke, I'm right there with you. I understand what you're going through. And if you have a loved one that suffered a stroke, realize that in here they're just as top-notch as they ever was, even though they might not be able to communicate it from here, and they might not be able to use this exactly the way they always have, but in here they're the same person they've always been. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. These great redneck coffee mugs are available at www.cafepress.com/redneckforpresident. We receive a commission off of them as well. You can also purchase buttons, yard signs, etc. from that website. McClendon Studios is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.
We have a new book. Many people want to know if homeschooling will work for them. This book may help you answer that question. You can find it on Amazon.com. Suzanne has written a great book of poetry. It is called Shattered. You can find it on Amazon.com.